Welcome to Metaphysical Soul Speak. I'm your host, Elena Fox Starks. Hey guys, I hope you're doing really well in this moment in time, and that whenever and wherever you happen to be, when you're listening to this message, that you are coming from a place of inner strength in all of your endeavors. Like sometimes we don't feel totally confident or competent or worthy or good enough. But one of the things that is super important to know is that your ability to come from a place of personal strength depends on something very basic. And it might depend on a lot of things, okay? But something I was thinking about today is that when someone has an opinion of you, and it's good, and if you base how you feel that day on their opinion, and they feel good about you, then you feel good about you. But if you are with somebody whose opinion rapidly and suddenly changes about you, then what can happen is your opinion of yourself will also wane, right? And so in order to come from a place of inner strength, you must stand strong and steadfast like the sun and never at all be like the moon, because the moon waxes and wanes. It gets bigger and smaller, and the thing is, you shouldn't allow yourself to get bigger and then shrink yourself down according to other people's good or ill impressions and opinions of you. Now, this is something I learned years ago from T. Harv Eker, directly from him, which was absolutely incredible. I couldn't believe I had set up the 3-day weekend and I went to Secrets of the Millionaire Mind 3-day workshop, and it was absolutely life transforming. And one of the things he said during those 3 days, and it was like literally 36 hours in 3 days, and we learned so much, and it was completely free. I mean, he sold his books and stuff, but to get in to experience that was completely free. And I was really blown away when he said, never let people's opinions of you sway your own opinion of you. In fact, you need to develop an opinion independent of what everyone else thinks, because what everyone else thinks, frankly, is none of your damn business. Now, this is how your wife thinks about you, how your children think about you, how your husband or boyfriend thinks about you, even how your own parents and grandparents think about you. None of your damn business what they think. Opinions are like assholes. Everybody has one. So the only thing that you need to keep your inner strength and to keep yourself emotionally on an even keel is to have a good opinion about yourself in spite of what anyone else might think, because it's none of your damn business what they think. At the end of your days here on earth, you don't have to answer to anybody, whether you hurt them or disappointed them or let them down or called them a name or slapped them in the face. It doesn't matter. You don't have to answer to anybody but yourself. At the end of the day, you answer to basically yourself. Now you'll go through a run of what happened in your life. You're going to relive those moments. You're going to relive them from your perspective, and then you'll relive them from the other person's perspective, and then you have to judge yourself based on how you did. How you did in a world where you forgot that you are complete love and come from complete love and acceptance of everybody and every part of yourself, which is everybody else. So, if you keep yourself on an even keel emotionally, with the inner strength and the knowing that the only opinion that matters besides your own is God's, and God believes that you are worthy enough and important enough to be here right now. And no one can take that away from you. Doesn't matter if your boss is belittling you. It doesn't matter. If he or she thinks you're not worthy, none of her damn business. God thinks you're worthy, otherwise you wouldn't be here. You don't have to answer to anybody. And you don't have to accept anybody else's opinions of you. And that's probably one of the best pieces of advice that I've taken in over the years. It saved me. It saved me. When my husband failed to mention he had brain cancer. In fact, I don't think he knew. I know that he knew he had cancer, but he lied. He said he was fine, and then he kept, looking more and more sick, and he just got more, he covered it up more and more, and he lied about it, basically, and forced me to divorce him. He said he was going to take the kids away from me and lie, cheat, and steal until I will never see my own children again. And I didn't know at the time he had brain cancer, so he was the sweetest guy in the whole world, very spiritual, amazing, loving man, and then switched on a dime. It took about 2 months for his personality to completely change, and he was completely a jerk, and I had gone to that training, and I had already switched my mind to the mindset that nobody's opinion, even my husband, even my children, even my own mother, nobody's opinion is my business. It means nothing to me. Only my opinion of myself and God's opinion of me, and I knew that I was going to always do my very best to be the best person I could be. And if I'm not good enough for other people, then that's on them, because I'm doing my best. People are only ever just doing their best. I mean, nobody says, I'm going to do my worst today. Nobody ever says, well, I could live life at a 10, but I'm going to be about a 2 today. We always want to be our best, right? And usually it's because we're seeking approval of other people. But once you realize that it's none of my business what they fucking think about me. None of my damn business. Every now and again I feel my ex is thinking about me. Some of my, people I've known in my past, every now and again I think about them and they think about me. I feel it. But I have 2 exes that I left, we left on kind of bad terms, and they're 2 exes. They were both narcissists because I had a pattern. Thank you God I don't have that pattern anymore. But I knew that I never wanted to see them again, ever. And their opinions of me mattered at that time. And I realized that during the breakup, when their opinions of me went from not so good to completely terrible, I could see myself like a sinking ship gliding under the water and gasping for air. I knew how they affected me in such a bad way. And I wish that when I was, 15 years old, before I started dating, that someone should have told me, it's none of your business what other people think about you. And I don't care if it's your boyfriend, your husband, your own child, or your dog. It doesn't matter. You have to love yourself. You have to do your best every day. You have to have a high opinion of yourself. And whatever else is in other people's minds, none of your damn business. Now, if someone had told me that when I was 15, it would have saved me a lot of heartache. And I saw how I spiraled downward and out of control when I was broken up with by those guys. And I was very young. In the last one, the first one, I was like, 20 something. I was like 23 or something. We were together 6 years, so whatever that is. I think I was 23, 24, something like that. But it was really and truly devastating. Thought I was going to die of the heartache. And when my husband and I broke up, that was hard and it was devastating, but my own personal confidence and opinion of me was unshakable. Because I knew God loved me, and how I knew that is I'm still here. God loves me and thinks I'm important enough to still remain standing in this world, whether I'm standing with a husband at my side or on my own. Period. And that's all I need to know. I don't need no one else's, ideas of me or opinions or thoughts freaking matter to me. They really don't. When people say, you're great, I love you, you're amazing, I say thank you politely, but it doesn't buoy me up higher on a higher crest. I'm still the same. And I'm grateful that I'm able to help other people, and that's why they care about me. And that's wonderful. I love them back. I love everybody. I love all of you. But when people have a good opinion of me, I don't get on a wave and ride it out, I don't surf those high waves, and I don't wallow around the tide pools either, that low tide. I'm on a path of equilibrium, walking that middle road, that middle path at all times. Now, I'm not going to lie, I do get bummed out when people won't allow themselves to see me as who I am today. And I've had a couple people in my life that just like a dog with an old damn bone, they won't let it fucking go. Remember that one time when you said that, or when you did that. And it might be something that you freaking apologized for already 10 freaking years ago. Let it freaking go already. That's in the past. Physically, I'm a new person. Every one of us is a whole new person every 7 years. The cells in my body today aren't even the cells that were in my body that year, 7, 8, 9, 10 years ago. Let it the hell go, man. And I've had people who felt sorry about what happened in my childhood, and then like 20, 30 years later come back and say, I'm sorry, and then bring up and dredge up the past. And it's like, the hell's wrong with you, man? Do you think I'm still an 8-year-old being knocked around by my stepmom? No. I'm a grown-ass woman. I live in South America. I've got my own radio show. Starting to up my Instagram game, yo. I've written books and screenplays. I've acted. I've been on TV. I'm not a famous actress. I'm not famous by any stretch. But, I've lived. I've had 2 marriages, both failed. But maybe not failed. They're not really a failure because I learned from them. So I don't really consider them failures. But, and the second one was a success until I got brain cancer and became a different man. I've had my children. I always want to have kids. I've gotten several degrees. I'm highly degreed. I have a lot of certifications and degrees. I'm good. I'm not an 8-year-old being knocked around anymore, right? So when people have that idea of, well, this one thing happened, and then they focus and pinpoint on that, I just feel like that's just another form of abuse. It's just another form of abuse. And I don't really have any time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. I just don't. I just have a good opinion of me, have a bad opinion of me. I don't have time for it either way. Like, if you have a good opinion of me, great. That's awesome. No matter what, I love everyone on the planet. Whether they're good or they're evil or they're indifferent, they're neutral. Whether they're in a coma or they're running a small country in Asia, it doesn't matter. I love everybody. And I don't see people anymore as good or bad. I see people as a piece of God, a part of the great divine, big spark off the grand light bulb that is God. And I see that everybody is doing their damn best. Everybody's doing their level best. Because if they're not doing all that good, they just can't do better. That's usually how it goes. And judging people for not doing their best today, maybe they don't feel good. Maybe their emotions weren't good today. Maybe something happened. You never know. You never know with what's going on with people. And so you just have to love and accept everybody and really, truly love everybody, regardless of their politics, regardless of what they do or don't do for a living, regardless of where they live, whether they live in Manhattan in a penthouse suite or they're homeless. God sees everyone equally, and God loves everyone equally, because everyone literally comes from pure love and acceptance. And you have to understand that about yourself, that you come from pure love and acceptance. And when you start to realize that who you are at your core, who your soul is at its core, that's perfection. It's love. There's nothing more. There's nothing more to attain to. There's nothing more. There's just nothing more. This world is so entrenched with illusions, and we are so enmeshed in it, right? We think that because we don't make that much money compared to other people, that we're less than them. We're not as worthy as them. Who's going to love us if we don't have a job? It's ridiculous when you think about who we are at our core, our positive, beautiful, radiant, abundant selves at the soul level. It's ridiculous. This world is freaking ridiculous. And it's so easy to get sucked right back into it. And one of the ways that we get sucked right back into it is when those that are closest to us bring up and dredge up the past and decide to spend the next 3 or 4 hours judging us. Something we said or something we did. It might not be something we're proud of or that we liked about ourselves, but it's definitely something we freaking changed in 7 years or whatever. I've had a couple people like that in my life. I've had like 3 or 4 people that have done that, and for the most part, like 90% of those people are gone. I don't even deal with them anymore. I had a friend that used to get drunk, and he's my friend now, kind of. We don't talk that much anymore. He's super, super busy. But he used to be an alcoholic, and when he was an alcoholic, oh my God, what a jerk sometimes. Not all the time, but sometimes. And he would call me and cry about my childhood, because I told him how bad my childhood was. Because we were talking, he told me how bad his was. And my, way of helping him through his was to lift him up and bring him to the point where, but look where you are now. You're a grown adult. You've got your own car. You got a job. You're in school. You're going to be making money. You're probably going to be famous someday. And he's well on his way to that. You know, and he found a boyfriend. He's been absolutely madly in love, passionately for, oh my gosh, like 6 years or something now. But, yeah, it's like, you know, my way of dealing with his past was to lift him up into the present and to show him potential for his future. And the way that he dealt with mine was to keep me down and keep me there. But this happened to you. Aren't you so sad about that? And I finally had to say, you need to get over my freaking childhood because it's really none of your business. You know, I told you my childhood because we were sharing stories, but I'm not there anymore and you were never there. So you don't need to go there now. You know, you don't have to base your opinion of me based on a story I told you from my past, which I frankly have already let go. The harder parts, I needed help, and I went to a therapist to get over it. You know, I feel like there's no shame in that, seeing a therapist when you need it, because I feel like the people that refuse to go to a therapist are the ones that are really messed up. When you can admit to yourself that you need help, gain over a couple things, it's not anything to be ashamed of. You're taking care of yourself. You know, it's stupid when your brain is broken. People have a stigma like, oh, ooh, stay away from that person. You know, but when you break your leg, they want to sign your cast. They don't want to go away from you. You know, it's like, you know, you get a chip in your tooth, you go to the dentist. You get a chip in your brain because you had a bad relationship, you should go to a therapist. Get through it. Repair it. Get over it. Brainwave optimization, best way. But sometimes if you get a good therapist, they'll do brainwave optimization as well as speak to you about your past and help you through it, you know, like not really give you advice, but kind of lead you to your own conclusions and stuff. And the best therapy, if you are looking for a therapist, find a Rogerian therapist. Carl Rogers was master of unconditional positive regard. And I think that is a really good model, so that if you are in a room with someone and they give you unconditional positive regard, it will teach and train you to have unconditional positive regard for yourself as well. And once you have that, other people's opinions of you will never, ever again freaking matter to you. As well, it should be. All right, so there's that. I'm going to get into space weather now. Spaceweather.com. Here it is. Solar wind speed is 433.8 kilometers per second, so it's picked up a little bit over the last couple days. We are still in a solar minimum. We are still in a spotless day. We have no sunspots at all, which it's good for the most part. We're not going to have any massive M-class flares coming our way anytime soon, and well, that might be a little bit of a plus, right? So, the neutron radiation counts from Oulu, Finland, basically, they're still very high. There's been zero change in the last 48 hours. We're still at 11.1% of the space age average. And we have had 5, I think it says 5, hold on. Yes, 5 fireballs over the United States today, according to NASA's all-sky cameras and the all-sky fireball network. So let me see, I think that's all we have about this page today. They still have these articles up of the now we no longer have the Comet Atlas. It's kind of maybe coming our way, but it is breaking up and in its place. It seems like it's in its place because it's really crazy. But we've got Comet Swan, and the Swan is now coming our way. So very interesting. I mean, think about these names. Atlas is a man who literally carries the world upon his shoulders. He shoulders the burden of the whole world, and that was coming our way. And then that broke up. We're no longer carrying the burden of the world, and now we have Comet Swan. And what does a swan do? Swans are graceful and they're beautiful. You screw with them, they're going to come after you, though. They're pretty, I don't think they're deadly, but they could do some damage. They're pretty badass creatures, actually. If you don't piss off a swan, you're never going to know it. But I've seen them go after other birds, geese and whatnot. But swans are very beautiful, and they're very commanding. They have a very elegant, commanding presence, and they just kind of glide over the water like nothing could ever bother them. They mate for life, and even though the name of the telescope, well, actually it's from Swan Hill, and I think that's why he named it, so it's just Swan, Comet Swan, it's just named after Michael Matiazzo being in Swan Hill, Victoria, Australia. I think that's why. Oh, no, I'm sorry. He saw it through the Swan instrument, so that's two swans in a row. That's really strange. Anyway, swans mate for life, and they would be a lovely, example of twin flames, a symbol's a word, of twin flames, and here we go. So carrying the world on our shoulders is breaking up, and the energy of swans gliding together. Think about that image. It's so much nicer, right? Now I know that my imagery and my words, that I'm saying have nothing to do with actual comets in the sky. That's not scientific. But when I look at the metaphor of it from a universal standpoint, from a higher vibrational, higher energy, spiritual standpoint, and I combine science and spirituality. This is, after all, Metaphysical Soul Speak, the podcast. I look at this and I think that it's a good omen. It's a good omen. So I want to keep that in mind as we move forward. And moving forward, disclosurenews.it today has reported 43 is the Schumann Resonance, the biggest one. They had others, 20 and 35, and different numbers came out of, I guess it's either Italy or Russia. I never did figure that one out from this website, but 43 was the big number in the past 24 hours. So we're just going to go with that. And everyone's going to go ooh and oh about it. All the spiritual people and all the blogs and Instagram and YouTube, and they're going to be like, ew, it was in the fifth dimension today. It's so high, and I so felt it. And they're going to ignore the fact that on heartmath.org, 5 out of the 6 cities were well above 40. I mean, it's like I've pointed this out to people repeatedly, and they still continuously use the information from the disclosurenews.it, which I think is so strange. It's like, if you have information that's better, then why are you still, I don't know. I don't know. I feel like, if you go to Yale University and you take classes and you love your classes and you've learned a lot, why are you going back to kindergarten and first grade to well, when my first grade teacher told me that, it's like not as impressive as my Yale University professor told me that. Yeah, I don't know. Just maybe that's me. I don't know. I'm just not that impressed with the Disclosure News. Their website is excellent. I am impressed with their website. They have a really awesome website. I'm very impressed with the website itself, but the numbers coming out of there, I'm not so impressed with. It's more impressive than Hofu, Saudi Arabia, that's still stuck at 0. Oh, wait a minute. You know what? I'm lying. Let's get into it, because you know what? They came up off the mat. That's somebody else at 0. Goodness gracious me. I'm sorry. Let me get into this. But I have 5 out of 6 numbers here. Wait a minute. Yeah. I have 5 out of 6 numbers here that are going to impress you far more and than 43. So here we go. All right, so California started off at 66 hertz frequency at midnight. By 4 a.m., they were up to 68 hertz frequency. And, oh my God, you guys. Yesterday, Hofuf, Saudi Arabia came from 0. And at midnight, they were at 95 hertz frequency. And by 4 a.m., Hofuf, Saudi Arabia was at 150 hertz frequency. See what I mean by being a lot more impressive than 43 on the other website? It's funny because it's like that's always one of the lowest numbers on the other website, and everyone quotes it because it's got a pretty chart. It's pretty colors and it's easy to read. And this chart's hard to read, but the numbers are a million times more impressive for me. Anyway, I always harp on this. I'm sorry, guys. It cracks me up. It's like when I point things out to people and I tell them how to use this website, and they just are like, huh? And then they go back to, oh my gosh, 43. It's a miracle. It's like, okay, well, what about the miracle of this? In Lithuania, they started off at midnight at 119 hertz frequency at midnight. And by 4 a.m., they were up to 122 hertz frequency on the Schumann Resonance scale. And Alberta, Canada started off at 96 hertz frequency at midnight. And by 4 a.m., they were at 97. And Northland, New Zealand was at 61 hertz frequency at midnight. And by 4 a.m., they were up to 64. And oh my gosh, Hulului, South Africa, which has always been super high, usually that's the highest one, has been at 0. And they've been at 0 since yesterday No, they've been at 0 for a while now. Remember, we didn't have these numbers yesterday. All right, so they've been at 0 since 1600 hours on Saturday the 11th. And Hofuf and Hulului both were at 0 together at the same time. But I'm impressed with Saudi Arabia, man. They're high up there. They're the highest vibrational frequency seen in the Schumann Resonance scale today. 150 is where they landed at 4 a.m. Well, we'll see where they go tomorrow. That's pretty exciting, actually. All right. For the Foundation of Inner Peace, we are on lesson 275 in A Course in Miracles, which can be found on any app in your Play Store or acim.org, which of course stands for A Course in Miracles. So today we are on lesson 275. God's healing voice protects all things today. God's healing voice protects all things today. Let us today attend the voice for God, which speaks an ancient lesson, no more true today than any other day. Yet has this day been chosen as the time when we will seek and hear and learn and understand. Join me in hearing. For the voice for God tells us of things we cannot understand alone, nor learn apart. It is in this that all things are protected. And in this, the healing of the voice for God is found. Your healing voice protects all things today, and so I leave all things to you. I need be anxious over nothing, for your voice will tell me what to do and where to go, to whom to speak and what to say to him, what thoughts to think, what words to give the world. The safety that I bring is given me. Father, your voice protects all things through me. God's healing voice protects all things today. So I hope you enjoyed that lesson. I did. For years now, actually, I've been able to hear the voice of God. At first it was really hard, and now it's just automatic. Like, it's almost like he's invisible in the room with me and I could hear him, but I hear him speaking in my head. I mean, some days I'll just lay in bed. I'll wake up in the morning and lay in bed an extra hour just having a conversation with God, because he's obviously very interesting. Created the world, created me. And so we have interesting conversations. So I like this lesson because it kind of validates that. Jesus heard his voice too. And a lot of people do. In fact, if you meditate enough and you are deep into the spiritual path, you're going to start to hear the voice of God as well. It's very, very easy. And I'm not any better than anyone else, because we all are equal. And God loves us all equally. And how you start to hear that the still small voice inside your heart or inside your head is if you just meditate and you sit in silence. You ask a question and you wait for the answer. And if it doesn't come, you do the same again tomorrow or later. And just keep doing that, and eventually you will develop the inner ears and the inner sight to hear that voice. And once you hear it, you'll never unhear it, and it's always there. So work on it, guys. If you haven't heard the voice of God yet, just keep working on it. Just be patient and keep asking for it. Say, hey, God, I'd love for you to talk with me. You're going to be okay. And you're going to hear the voice of God sooner or later. So I know I sound crazy to those of you who don't believe this is true or that this can happen, but there's plenty of books in the world that talk about this exact same thing. One of them's called The Still Small Voice. All right, I'm going to take a quick break, and when I come back, I am going to relay to you the voice of God. So how ironic is that? Before I even saw this lesson today, God said, you should channel me today. I said, cool, let's do that. So that's it. God's healing voice protects all things today. And it's going to be available for all of us right after this message. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's high time you did. It is the absolute easiest way to make a podcast. First of all, it's absolutely free. Second of all, they have creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer. You guys have known that I've been doing this for 8 months using the Anchor.fm app right on my cell phone, and I have done it everywhere, right? I have recorded this in my living room, my bedroom, little cafes in Quito, Ecuador, all over Cuenca. It's so absolutely easy to make your podcast, and editing is just a snap. Anchor also will distribute your podcast for you. And it took me about 2.5 months to become syndicated. And now I'm available on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and many more, and so can you. You can make money from your podcast also, and there's no minimum requirement. You get paid from your very first listener. It is everything that you need to make a podcast all in one place. So please, if you are interested in making a podcast of your very own, do not hesitate to start with Anchor. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started today. All right, guys, I am already connected with Prime Creator because I always am. Since I took the mantle on in 2007, 13 years ago, this month actually. It's been 13 years and about 15 days. I've been working for God a long time. I've been a telepath my whole life. And I don't like direct channeling for me, not yet. It's nothing I'm ready for. I don't know if it'll ever happen. But there are two kinds of channelers in this world, the indirect and the direct. And the direct channelers are the ones that step aside and allow spirits to take over their body and vocal cords. And the person's demeanor, their voice changes. Everything just changes. And in indirect channels, like me, I'm a channeler that's indirect. I'm telepathing with the spirits. And it doesn't matter if it's, I've telepathed for you guys with Art Bell and Robin Williams posthumously. And I have channeled Master Merlin, the magician, as well as Brother Yeshua, Prime Creator, and several ET groups. And every single time I'm indirectly channeling them, I'm telepathing with them. Now, sometimes my voice will change as far as the cadence and the rhythm of what I'm saying, because I'm hearing what they're saying and I'm saying it to you in the way that I'm hearing it. For me, that lends more of an authentic feel to the conversation. But sometimes you'll notice that they'll pluck something out of my subconscious mind. It might be a saying or a phrase that normally would come out of my mouth when I'm not channeling. And that's because they do have access to the subconscious mind, because they need to for communication's sake. So if you ever hear channeling from me or anyone who is telepathing, and it's like, wait, I heard them say that the other day when they're just talking normally. Well, that's why. They take phrases out of our subconscious mind for more clear communication. It's a little bit easier than them trying to say something we've never heard of and us going, what? What are you talking about? But if there is something that God does not, that he says and it's not coming across to me as clear, or a word that I'm not expecting to hear, so I'm like, I didn't hear that, say it again, I will stop and ask for a repeat or a different word if I'm not getting it. And basically I use muscle testing in those cases, and then we can move on. I could get a yes or no, or what's going on? Is that what you really meant? Yes or no? Okay, then I get that via muscle testing, kinesiology. All right, I'm going to take my inhaler and then we're going to be starting. All right, so I'm doing my best here. I'm having congestion, which is weird because usually it happens when I eat wheat, and all I had yesterday was I made a cabbage and beet kind of a borscht soup yesterday. And that's all I ate. So I don't know. I haven't really even eaten today. I ate a little bit of an energy bar that I made earlier, just out of coconut oil and 3 kinds of seeds. I guess technically I've been a vegan for 2 days. But, I don't know. So here we go. Hopefully I won't have to stop again. I took my inhaler too many times, so I can't take it again. Yeah, I'm just very... All right. Well, God willing, it's not coronavirus. God says no. Good. It might just be allergies. I just need to sweep my bedroom floor. That might be it. How does the dust get in here when all the windows are sealed completely shut with duct tape? How? Makes no damn sense. All my sheets and everything, even my blankets have been cleaned, and all my clothes are clean. I have no idea how this happens. Anyway. All right, God, you may begin transmission. Greetings and hello. It is I, the Prime Creator. It is I who made you and swaddled your soul in my arms like a newborn baby when you were just a newborn soul. My heart leaps out of my chest if I were in a body like yours. I'm using your metaphors, of course. This is the feeling that I get when I see a newly awakened soul. When you spiritually awaken, all of heaven rejoices for you. Even if you are the only one today, all of heaven will rejoice for you when you awaken. You are all very important to me. If you want to think of it like cogs in a wheel, the wheel would not spin, the world would not turn without your part in it. We wish for you to understand your importance. You are not only worthy and important to us, but absolutely necessary. If you think of a car and all the parts that go in a car, you can't take the carburetor out and expect the car to go. You cannot take one of the tires off and expect the car to glide along the road smoothly. You can't even take out the alternator or even the steering wheel, because all parts in a car are necessary. So, if we were to liken the Planet Earth project to a car, all the parts are necessary, and you do have a part to play in not only the creation of this world, because you are indeed a co-creator, but also in the energy and the vibration. Every person is important. If you think of a song that is played by a symphony, you can't get along without the oboes or the timpani. You cannot get along without the flutes or the violins. Every instrument has its own melody, its own rhythm, its own flow. And you can't have a complete song without all the parts being played. It just doesn't sound right. The harmonics are off. And the same thing is with your souls. Now, you don't hear your own soul, but those of us in heaven, we hear it. We hear your soul and everyone else's soul, and we hear the divine harmony that is. When your part is finished, then you come home because you're done playing on planet Earth. And when you are there on planet Earth, then your soul has a certain vibration and frequency that, well, for me, as a proud, loving father or creator, however you wish to look at me, it's music to my ears. I liked the talk earlier about how my opinion matters of you. And I'm here to tell you, all of you, each and every one of you, whether you're listening in the next 24 hours or the next 24 years to this podcast, I want you to know that you are loved and worthy and important to me and to your Divine Mother as well. We are absolutely in love with you. We exist in the energy of love with you. We will always consider ourselves to be your creators, your parents, if you wish to think of it that way. For a lot of you, you had loving, beautiful parents, and we're just an extension of that. Or rather, they were an extension of us. Now, for some of you, you didn't have a very happy parental experience, and for this, we're truly sorry, but a lot of you chose that. Most of you chose that. And for those of you who did not have a good parental experience, maybe you don't like to think of God as a parent. That's okay. But for some of you that did not have a happy childhood because of your parents, they ruined it. We would like to say that maybe think of us as your real parents. Those were the imposters. If that helps you, that's okay with us. So what I would like to talk about, what we would like to relay and get across to you today, is how do you hear that still small voice? How do you engage in the energy of telepathy? What is it? How to do it? Okay, guys, I had to take a quick break. I just started having all this coughing. Just don't want to go into the explanation of it, but it's not what you think. It's just probably an allergy. And see, here we go again. All right. All right, God. So first of all, the still small voice that you have been talking about this evening is indeed the voice of God. I am in you, and you're in me. So I want you to think about this as a very subtle form of communication. And if you ever hear this voice inside and you ignore it, it doesn't hurt my feelings. It makes me realize you don't understand what that is. But when you start to listen to that still small voice, and it's always going to be me being positive and being supportive. If you ever hear voices that are unsupportive, that's not the still small voice. I will tell you what is necessary for your own good, your own personal growth and spiritual growth, and I will give you suggestions for your life. And you are always allowed to use your free will to go with what I tell you or not. You don't have to listen to that voice. But when you hear it, you know. You just know. And it's that inner knowing that's your inner guidance system that helps you understand that what you're hearing really is the real thing. So that's pretty much what the voice is. It's literally me speaking to you in various situations, circumstances, and you choose to ignore me or have a conversation with me. And many of you just don't even hear the voice at all, even though I'm very quiet and I'm always talking about things that would be of benefit to you. And sometimes some of you will hear it and you'll follow the advice, but you don't acknowledge that that's where it came from. And that's okay. I'm the creator of all things. I don't really have an ego about if you give me credit or not. But I know that it will help you if you do hear my voice. If you do hear that voice inside your inner heart. So we're going to talk about how to develop your telepathy so that we can have a conversation. For many of you, this is already starting to come online in your current colloquialism. Coming online is related to computers, I know, but when we say that, you tend to understand. Pretty much, this is a part of your, to continue with the computer metaphor, a part of your operating system that just started to work. You might want to consider yourself human version 2.0. Okay, so telepathy. You have to quiet your mind to hear the mind of another. Whether it's the still small voice in your heart or an archangel speaking to you through your mind, through your head. If you drop your energy down into your heart, that might be a way that you can hear this. But some of you will keep your energy in your head and you might hear the voices there. And you have to use discernment. And the number one way to use discernment is to raise your vibration, meditate, and then try. Surround yourself with angels. You may ask me, just say, hey, God, send me some angels. I'm going to try something here. And I will. You always have your holy guardian angel with you. But sometimes you want extra angels to protect your body and your mind while you are attempting something new, especially when it's supernatural, such as telepathy, which, in my opinion, it's a very natural state of being, but many of you don't see it that way because you haven't used this spiritual muscle in a very long time. And I'm here to help you with the heavy lifting right now. So we are in constant communication, but most of the time it's one-sided. We are always communicating with you. Usually you're always ignoring us. So once you are able to clear your energy field, try to clear your aura, clear your chakras. Imagine it's all pure, it's all clean. And then you drop your energy down and you enter a meditative state of mind. If you can hit an alpha state, that's helpful. But if not, that's okay. Just focus on your third eye or on your heart chakra and just breathe. That's all you need to do. If you have any thoughts that are random, just let them pass before your eyes unscathed. And what we mean by that is just don't bother interacting with them. Watch the words go by. Watch the thoughts go by. You're going to get very good at this, but it's going to take some practice. Just breathe, and that's it. If you are outside in nature and you feel a little bit of a breeze on your face, you can focus on that for a moment because it distracts you from your thoughts. If you hear birds singing, you can focus on birds singing. That will distract you from your own thoughts that swim around in your subconscious mind and rise up to your conscious mind the minute you stop talking and engaging with other people. When you have your phone down and other people are in the other room or not present and your eyes are closed, that's when all the barrage of thoughts come. You have to learn how to make your mind like a blank slate. Now, many of you have been doing meditation and yoga and many different practices for years that help you with this. So once you perfect that part, it doesn't have to be perfect, but once you do very well with that and you could quiet your mind down, then you speak to your prime creator, divine mother, or heavenly father, your choice, whatever energy you personally relate to. If you don't want to say those, you may say any of the other words you're comfortable with, such as, hey, universe, I want to have a conversation with you. You can ask us a question right away. Maybe you want to ask if we'll help you find your one true love, or help you get a job, or help you break when you have a broken heart. We will help you mend your broken heart. Whatever you wish, whatever request you wish. If you just want to know us better, say, hey, universe, or prime creator, or divine mother, however you wish to say it. Say, I would like to have a relationship with you, and I would like to have a conversation with you. Now, don't worry if you're not in a perfect state of mind. Remember, Conversations with God, the books, were written by Neil Donald Walsh through conversations he had with me. And it started when he was extremely angry at me. So don't worry about offending us with your emotions, because we created you and we created your reactions and your emotions, and we know how you're going to react in every situation, even before you know how you will react. So we've not only seen everything under the sun, we created the sun and we created everything under it. You're not going to hurt us or shock us. Anything that you want to talk about, no topic is off limits for us. If you have a porn addiction you want to talk to us about, that's fine. We also invented that. We invented everything. So, even though it says in all the holy books that only God judges you, well, you're God. You're the one's going to judge yourself. And then we have the final say. If you want to talk about coming back to earth, we help you. And the Council of 12, of course, they help you in deciding what you want to do next based on how you lived your life. But if you are there now and you want to talk to us, this is how you do it. After you've learned how to quiet your mind, you will get good at this after a few days or a few weeks, or some of you a few months. Then you just say, teach me how to telepath with you, or just let's have a conversation. And then you just breathe and you just focus on your breath. You open up your heart and expand your heart space. And by doing that, you allow the energy of communication by expanding your heart space. When you do this, you are allowing the voice of God to come in. And that's pretty much it. And then you listen. In the beginning, you might want to learn how to use a pendulum, or you might want to learn how to use your muscle testing to ask if you heard the words right. Some of you might want to use a computer or maybe even a typewriter and do automatic typing. That might be easier for you. It'll focus your mind on the sound of the keyboard or the way your fingers are moving. And that takes your own thoughts out of your own head. Some of you might want to do automatic writing. Make sure that you protect yourself and you ask us to surround you with angels first so that you're safe. You could call upon your masters. And some of you work with gods and goddesses who are there to assist you, especially with magic in your world. So if you do automatic writing, you just get a pen and a notebook and you just start writing. It doesn't have to be perfect handwriting. It doesn't have to be something that's perfectly logical or makes sense, because in the beginning you're going to hear words that we're not saying. The words in your subconscious mind will get jumbled up. Your conscious mind will try to second guess what it's hearing, and it will jumble things up. In the beginning, all the messages are jumbled up. Don't worry about it. Just keep going, because you're going to get good at this. After you're finished writing the message and you look at the automatic, if you're doing this through automatic writing, you go back and you look, and the things that don't make sense, just cross them off. Then read what's left. And you can use muscle testing or pendulum dowsing to make sure that you did hear the rest of the words correctly. And then you can ask questions and follow-up questions on what you have written with us assisting you. Some of you might want to use like a tape recorder and just say everything you hear. Some of you might want to be in a trance, and then you'll say things into a recording device and later play it back for yourself when you're more consciously aware. These are all ways that you can learn how to develop your telepathy. Now, there are ways through use of zine or cards and the like. There are things that you can do to increase your telepathy with other humans. But this is how we will start to speak through you. In fact, we've always been speaking through you. This is how you're going to begin to hear the voice of God inside of you. Telepathy is a gift that we have given to everybody, and according to your own desires, focus, sometimes karma, it depends on where you're at, so to speak, and that will determine how clear your ability to telepath is. Let's say you're listening to this recording and you want to overcome your karma, and maybe it is karma, and you listen to this show and you're very interested in this topic and you're upset and frustrated because you haven't ever telepathed in your life before. Because you're hearing this recording, you're ready. So don't worry about it, and don't beat yourself up because you didn't have this skill or ability before. Now that we've told you about it, your energy field is expanding, and that's wonderful, because you are now going to be closer than ever before to having true telepathy with us, with spirits, with your holy guardian angel, whoever you wish to have a conversation with. People in your life who have passed away, who have come home, those of us, or those of your kin that have passed on. Sometimes you might want to telepath with them. But we want you always to keep in mind, if you do telepath with spirits, that they are not the same as speaking to Prime Creator. They still have their petty differences and their jealousies and their agendas, as if they were still on Earth. Depending on the spirit that you contact, will result in a high quality or a low quality conversation, just like people you meet on the street. Sometimes you'll have a high quality or a low quality conversation, depending on who they are and what level their consciousness is at. So if you have been listening to this so far, you have the right consciousness and you are ready to begin telepathic transmissions. Now, this doesn't mean that you have to become a psychic medium or have your own show if you don't want. You can if you want. But the reason for why you do want to do this is that having a clear connection with your higher self or your Creator gives you an advantage in your life that you did not have before. If we know you're going to stub your toe, we're going to tell you, hey, walk the other way. If we see that you're going to meet someone very special, if you move into a specific apartment building, we are going to gently guide you towards that apartment building. If you say you can't afford something, we will gently guide you and encourage you in a way that you'll think of a solution or find the bravery or the courage in your heart to negotiate a better price. We'll help you with everything in your life, from finding a place to negotiating a better price for something that you wish to have but can't afford, to career advice, love advice, and daily house advice. You can ask us, hey, do I look good in this eggplant shirt, God? Is this going to get me where I need to be spiritually and financially, physically and emotionally and mentally speaking? If I wear the shirt today, was it going to do me justice or no? We'll tell you the truth. If your butt looks fat in those jeans, okay, no, not really. I asked that. It's me, guys. Elaine is saying that. Okay, God is saying, if you do have a fat butt, it's because we made you. And we knew that was possible. And maybe you chose that for yourself. And as far as we're concerned, we love you no matter what. It doesn't matter to us if your butt is fat. So we might not engage in conversation about that. Okay, good. But again, no topic is off limits. If you are worried about your weight, we will tell you what food, vitamins, minerals, exercise program will help you understand what you need to let go of and what you need to gain in your life in order to let go of the weight or to gain whatever it is that you're looking for. Gaining fitness, gaining new clothes that are the right size, gaining love, gaining a job. Will help you lose the things that you want to lose, such as bad habits, and we'll help you gain the things you wish to gain, such as brand new friends. 33, I looked right there. By the way, we are here to help you. We are your assistants. And we're always here, and you can always hear the still small voice. We don't need you to say specific words that you deem to be more holy or religious than other words. You can just talk to us like we are your best friends. So once you start telepathing with us and you can hear us and we can hear you, of course we can always hear you, you're not going to have to use the these and the thous and the those. You don't need to speak Bible speak. We don't talk like that. We talk like you. And we adapt the way that we speak for all the different individuals that contact us. You don't have to speak to us in specifically Aramaic. You can speak to us in Italian or Russian or Greek or English. It doesn't matter. You can speak to us in Spanglish and we will still understand you. We are your only, or the only people, if you want to call us that. We are the only ones in your life that will love you 100% unconditionally. And we will be the ones that are there with you from before you take your first breath until and after you take your last. No topic is too boring for us. No topic is too taboo for us. Everything is kept secret and sacred between us and you, unless you want to divulge the information to anybody else. So we hope that that part eliminates your fears. Some of you were thinking, but what if I'm telepathing with God and my neighbor who's very psychic hears me? When you speak to God, there is a cone of silence that actually works. If you have any idea as to Get Smart, that TV show which we loved, you can get that reference. Otherwise, we'll attempt a different way of saying this. It's as if a corridor of light surrounds you in a circle all the way around you, and it goes deep to the core of the earth and straight up to, let's say, the 12th dimension. It's a giant pillar of light, and you're standing inside of it. And on the outside of this pillar, no one can hear anything. So you are 100% safe. So we want you to always feel safe and loved, happy. And if you don't feel these things, have a conversation with us and we'll help you get back on track so that you can feel these things. So we've covered what telepathy is, which is just communication through your energy field, through your mind, through your heart. Everyone has a little bit different technique of telepathing. And as long as you're communicating mind to mind, there is no real wrong way to be telepathically active. We encourage you to try telepathing with different beings, such as an animal in your life. If you have a cat or a dog, or a bird, or a ferret, we will happily assist you in that. Just ask for guidance and help in telepathing with animals, and we will help you to the best of our ability. And so you could develop your telepathy with your sister or your best friend or your parents, even your children. Start off by writing numbers or colors, drawing blocks of color on paper, and holding it up and imagining what it is. And the other person can telepath with you by psychically guessing. Telepathy is a form of psychic communication. It is the communication part of communication. Whereas normal psychic ability will sometimes involve physical metaphors and you'll have to cipher it. It's a little bit harder, and telepathy is easier. If you could telepath with words and hear words, then you don't need symbols or pictures. Then you don't have to interpret them like you do in psychic powers, the clairvoyant abilities. So there you have it. That is our message for today, basically. Just keep practicing. Practice makes perfect. Keep asking for our help. Every day, ask us, so we know you're serious, and also it helps to establish the connection between us. We love each and every one of you. You are special and worthy and loved. So there you have it. All right, guys, there it is. That's the end of the transmission. I hope you enjoyed that message from Prime Creator. And I know he was speaking not only for himself, but also for Divine Mother. I could feel her presence with him during parts of the evening. So there you go. All right, that's it, guys. I'm going to take off, but tomorrow I'll be back with all unique and original programming, just like always. And that's it. Please mark your calendars for July 1st. That's the first day that you could begin voting for only the month of July for the People's Choice Podcast Awards. And I'm going to give you information in July and in maybe towards the end of June, so that you guys know what to bookmark, what to do. But the voting opens on the 1st of July, so I'm just asking people to mark your calendar if you want to vote for me in the People's Choice Awards. That will help spread the word of the show, get the word out there. There's no money involved. I don't win anything. I think there's a trophy. I don't know if it's a photograph of a trophy that I can display on my website, or if it's an actual trophy itself. It might be a real trophy. I don't know. But I'm more concerned with getting the word out there, because more and more people are waking up right now. And they're hungry and they're thirsty for more spiritual knowledge. So I want to get Metaphysical Soul Speak, the podcast, out there into the world more and more and more, so that we can help more and more people. So basically, that's it in a nutshell. So I would also encourage you, if you're so inclined, to like, subscribe, forward, and broadcast news and word of Metaphysical Soul Speak, the podcast, far and wide to your social media, basically Facebook, Instagram, the like. I want to thank you in advance for doing that. Anyone you know who is learning about spiritual things and they're brand new, send them to the show. They're going to learn more. And I'm going to try to provide, always like I do, a loving and supporting environment, for the hour or 2 hours that you're listening to the show. So if you've ever had a bad day and you heard a special advice that made you feel better, go back and listen to that and encourage other people to do the same. If they need my help, please direct them to me. All right. That's it, guys. I am pretty much ready for bed. So I'm going to go. And I hope that you feel wonderful and safe, that you're social distancing and staying inside, and that if you keep your days clean and alone, your tomorrows will be bright and probably filled with a lot of friends. We're all learning what is important to us here, and that's wonderful. All right, that's it. I'm signing off with peace and joy and the high vibes of the Holy Fifth Dimension. Until next time, guys, peace. Metaphysical Soul Speak is run on sponsors and listener support. This means listeners like you. If you are so inclined to support my efforts and my little podcast, please visit me at anchor.fm/metaphysical and pledge an amount of your choosing today. Thank you.